Hearing about this now. Is that right?
Yes.
By Luca. Luca, stage is yours, please.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Luca Lamoni. I work as a data analyst at ICIS. Today I want to talk to you about adviceXplorer, which is an app that we recently developed at ICIS. I want to note that my colleague Sarah Millar is also here, so if later you have any question about the advice process, she's the right person to ask, not me. So just a few key points about ICIS as an organization. ICIS provides scientific advice for a variety of topics. It provides data and scientific products, as you probably may well know, and also scientific cooperation. Today we will focus on a specific type of scientific advice, which is the advice on fishery opportunities, also known as single stock advice. So how the ICIS advice process works. Usually we get an advice request from one of our clients. We gather the people, the experts that are best suited to address this advice request. Their work is then peer reviewed, and ICIS then finally release the advice. How do we release the advice? Using PDF documents. Now, I know we all love PDFs, but in some cases they are a bit limited. And so a few years ago, we decided, what about trying an interactive approach in displaying this type of advice? So probably here I'm preaching to the choir, but there are several good reasons to move from a static PDF to a more web-based interactive product. I will just mention three. First, we can provide the user with interactive data visualizations. And in some cases, for certain type of plots, this enhance the user experience. We can provide direct access to the data that is used to build these figures. And finally, easier integration and connection to multiple ICIS products. So then the question is, what is adviceXplorer? adviceXplorer is a shiny app that was developed between 2021 and 2023. It was released in June last year, so almost a year ago. It has two main goals. The first is to facilitate the visualization of the advice on fishing opportunity. The second is to make it easier for the user to access directly the data that is used for this advice. It is fully integrated with ICIS databases and services and processes. And what I mean by this, so adviceXplorer is very visible, is online, is working, but there are many processes under the surface that are fundamental for this app to work. These processes include people. So, for example, on the left-hand side, you see the advice process, the expert groups, the ICIS secretariat staff. On the right-hand side, you see the more data infrastructure aspect, the transparent assessment framework, TAF, the ICIS databases, and web services. I will now focus on the ICIS databases, which really form the foundation of how this app works. We have three main databases: the stock information database, SID, which contain the general information about the stock; the stock assessment graph, SAG, which include the main data of the assessment; and finally, the advice and scenario database, ASD, which was developed together with the adviceXplorer, which contains the headline of the advice, so the official advice that ICES provides, and the catch scenario tables. The adviceXplorer pulls all this data from these three databases and harmonizes it for the user. So what can we find on adviceXplorer? Here on the table, you can see the years of stock assessments we have at the moment. ICES in general publishes around 180 stocks advice every year. So we are in line with what has been published so far. For each stock assessment, the user can download trends over time, which include landings, recruitment, fishing pressure, spawning stock biomass. It can visualize the catch scenarios, as well as access links to ICES resources. So now, let's try to see if this works. Okay, click to connect. Enjoy your stay. I'm enjoying it. Okay, so this is the landing page on the ICES website for the adviceXplorer. You're seeing it, yes. So this is how the app looks. The different tabs on top reflect the different sections that we have in the advice data sheets, the PDF format. On the left here, we have a filtering panel, which is made of an interactive map that can be clicked, so you can select one or more ecoregions at the same time. If the user wants to do a more in-depth filtering, it can select the assessment year, the stock code. If for example, a stock assessor knows already the stock code they are working with, they can select it from this drop-down menu. Or let's say we are interested in haddock. Oops. Then we click, and the list on the right, the list of stocks, is updated. So once we find the stock assessment we are interested in, we click this button. This puts us on development over time. So here we have two top panels. The one on the left sums up what we have selected, the stock we have selected, and the year. The one on the right contains the headline advice, so the official message that ICES publishes. If we click on the title, we are directed to the ICES library, and there we can access straight away the PDF of this advice. We can download the data using this button here, so the data that was used to build these 4 plots. Here, for example, depending on the stocks, we have different variables that are shown, but for example, here we have catches, recruitment, fishing pressure, and spawning stock biomass. All the plots are interactive, so we can go on top of it, check the values, zoom in and zoom out, save it as a PNG or as an image for a presentation. And then I would just move quickly to the catch scenarios and skip the quality of assessment. Here, the two top panels are the same. Here we have a direct link to the ASD database, so we can check the full entry and the metadata. And then here we have the button to download the catch scenario table. On the right, this time, the right of the screen, you can see the catch scenario table. The top row, the one in bold, is the scenario that has been chosen by the expert for this specific stock as the basis of the advice. On the left, we have this plot that is just a representation of this table, the values on this table. So we have fishing pressure, catches, and spawning stock biomass, and the effect that the different scenarios, which are represented by the dots, have on these three variables. Down here, we have 3 additional plots. I won't go too much into detail, but these are alternative ways to look at the catch scenario. So here, for example, we have a catch time series. We can add different scenarios and see what is the effect of this scenario have on next year catches. And finally, we have some resources. So we have, for example, a feedback form that you can fill up with general ideas or things that you see that don't work. So we receive this feedback, and we usually act on it pretty quickly. You can also email us or visit our GitHub repository. All the code is stored there and is free to use. We also have some list of data sources, data disclaimer, and a citation. So do I still have a minute? Yes. 1 minute, perfect. This was my plan B. So ICE's vision for the future is to develop a suite of web-based interconnected applications. So the general idea would be to allow the user to move between different regional level, to move between different scales. So for example, we are working on the Fishery Explorer, which is based on the fishery overviews, which is ecoregion specific. And then we hope that, for example, if a user is interested in a specific stock, from the fishery overviews, we'll go to the adviceXplorer. If the user wants to dig even deeper, we are working on an app called TAF-Explorer, and this will show the code that was used for the assessment, the results, all the figures that don't end up in the advice sheet, and it's based on the TAF approach. So I think I'm done. As you can see, many people contributed to this project. So I would like to thank them here and thank you for sticking around. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca.
Thank you.
Do I see hands? Come on, come on. There you go.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, it's not a technical question, but a content question. Because we saw the haddock, and you saw that the volume went down enormously. But is that because the consumer don't want it anymore, or because the quota, the fish?
That's. I think it's a question for Sarah, if she wants to answer.
Sorry, I don't know what haddock was. It's quite specific haddock question.
Let's see.
Now, because I know in Dutch, let's say shellfish used to be the most cheap fish that was around, and it was eaten. Let's say the last years, you won't find it in any shop, I think. But is that because it completely went down in population, or because people don't want it anymore?
No. It depends what ecoregion you're thinking about, but for instance, if we look at the North Sea, it's because we fish haddock in a mixed fishery, and we have a very small cod stock these days, so that's limiting how much haddock, which is actually a very big stock right now. So there's a few different issues, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's because people don't want it, no. It's a bit different in the Arctic, if that was the one that you were showing. I think it's still pretty healthy.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Beautiful presentation. I was wondering, maybe you said it, apologies if you did, but who, the users of these reports, who are they, and did you include them in developing the tool?
Yes, that's a very good question. And it was on a slide that I didn't include for time reasons. So during the development of the app, we created a user story group, which included a representative sample of the potential users, which obviously the app is mainly focused for people inside the ISIS network, so scientists, stock assessors, policymakers, and I think managers in general. So we did include them, and I have to say it was very beneficial. They gave us really good insights, and they helped tremendously the development of the app. We still, from time to time, receive very good feedback, which help us kind of direct further the development. Thank you.